When things finally exploded, it wasn't with words, it was with the sound of my laptop slamming against the tile floor. My girlfriend Melissa stood there, eyes blazing, yelling, "Now you have to pay attention to me." And all I could do was stare at the shattered pieces of the machine that basically keeps my entire career alive. I'm 29, male, and right now I'm sitting in silence, looking at what used to be my work laptop, or what's left of it. We've been together about a year and a half, living under the same roof for the last 6 months. And lately, everything has been a minefield. I'm a software developer at a startup, and we are deep in the trenches of a product launch, the kind that decides whether we attract more investors or shut down for good. That means 60 to 70-hour work weeks, late nights, endless testing. It's not enjoyable, but it's temporary, and it's crucial. Melissa knew all of this. I didn't sugarcoat it. She nodded, hugged me, said she understood. "Do what you need to do, babe. I support you." That lasted a couple weeks. Then came the digs. "Oh, lucky you basically date your computer now." The exaggerated size whenever I opened my laptop. The accidental unplugging of my charger. All of it wrapped in fake innocence. I tried to be considerate. Ordered her favorite sushi, planned post-launch weekend getaways, surprised her with that designer purse she'd been obsessing over. Nothing mattered. The attention she wanted wasn't attention I could realistically give, not while trying to keep my company alive. And yesterday, everything snapped. I had a scheduled investor presentation over Zoom, camera on, full demo, make or break moment. I told her multiple times that morning. From 2 to 4, I cannot be interrupted. Serious call. At exactly 2:30 p.m., she strutted into my office wearing lingerie. Not knocking. Not checking if the call was still happening. Just walked directly into the camera frame like this was some kind of prank. Investors saw everything. I heard snickering. I managed to kill the camera before total chaos unfolded, but the humiliation hit me like ice water down my back. When the call ended, I confronted her. "Melissa, what the hell was that? You could have blown the entire deal." She exploded. Accused me of loving my stupid job more than her. Said she was emotionally abandoned, that I didn't care, that she was drowning in loneliness. Then came the ultimatum. Fine. Pick. That laptop or me. I honestly thought she was being dramatic, trying to frighten me into apologizing. "Melissa, don't do this. No one's choosing between you and a computer. This is my livelihood." Her expression changed, like something inside her snapped. In one motion, she grabbed my MacBook. My $3,200 work machine. Years of data, client files, prototypes. Before I even got out of my chair, she raised it over her head and drove it into the floor. Once. Twice. A third time. The cracking sound kept echoing in my head. Pieces flew. Screen smashed. Frame bent like aluminum foil. She was breathing hard, staring at me with this twisted expectation. "Now you have to pay attention to me." In that moment, something inside me went cold. I didn't scream. Didn't push her out. I just sank to the floor and started picking up the pieces. Tiny screws, shards of glass, the keyboard that had popped loose. She waited for me to yell, to comfort her, to apologize. Something. But I didn't give her a single word. I collected every broken part and placed them gently in a cardboard box. Took photos. Documented everything. Then I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. "Where are you going?" Her voice suddenly sounded small. Worried. "Not your problem anymore. Don't contact me." I spent the night at a friend's place. This morning, I woke up with absolute clarity. First thing I did, called a lawyer buddy. Second thing, walked into the police station and filed a formal report. When the officer saw the photos and heard the replacement value, his eyebrows practically hit his hairline. In my state, intentionally destroying property worth more than $1,000 isn't just oops, it's a felony. Not a slap on the wrist misdemeanor. A charge that can wreck your employment, finances, travel, everything. Melissa has been lighting up my phone since then. 73 calls. Over 200 texts. The whole emotional roller coaster. "I'm sorry. You're overreacting. Please don't do this. If you cared about me, you'd understand." Her friend Jade even called to yell at me. "You seriously got the cops involved? Over a laptop?" She was just upset. My answer was simple. She didn't get emotional. She committed a crime. If she didn't want consequences, she shouldn't have smashed thousands of dollars of my property. Jade tried to guilt trip me. "You're going to ruin her life." "She tried to ruin my career," I said. "Funny how that works. I'm moving out this weekend while Melissa's at work. Storage locker is already rented. There's nothing to salvage here. A detective is coming tomorrow for my full statement and the evidence. They told me the case is solid. And if I want to press charges, which I do, they'll move forward. Because at the end of the day, if someone thinks they can destroy your life, literally or financially, just to get attention, they'll keep pushing that boundary until someone finally pushes back. And that someone is me." The whole thing escalated faster than I could breathe. The detective had come by the morning after I filed, calm, professional, methodical. He looked through my photos, bagged the broken parts, and took my statement like it was another sad human drama he'd seen 1,000 times. He told me the prosecutor would probably treat this seriously given the dollar amount and the clear intent. He even said Melissa would likely get contacted within 48 hours. 48 hours later, the world blew up. First, a call from Melissa's mom, Diane. I should have muted it, but I didn't. The second it picked up, she was a shrieking whirlwind of entitlement and excuses. "How dare you," she screamed. "You can't do this to my baby." It was all caps, live and unedited. I tried to say hello. She didn't care. "You're having my baby arrested over some replaceable electronics?" she yelled. "She's been hurting, you've been neglecting her for months. Any reasonable man would understand that. Any reasonable person wouldn't destroy someone else's property," I wanted to say. But of course I didn't have the luxury of arguing with someone who'd already decided the narrative. Her voice kept twisting the story into whatever version kept Melissa blameless. "Buy another one and stop being dramatic," Diane sneered at one point, like this was a shopping problem and not $3,000 of my livelihood in shards on the floor. I listened to her lay on the guilt like icing. "Maybe if you'd been a better boyfriend," and then I did the only sane thing, I hung up and blocked her number. No civilized way to continue that conversation. Then Melissa herself showed up, at my hotel room. How she found me, I still don't know, but I have my suspicions. Jade works the front desk at another hotel and she's got friends everywhere. Security footage later showed Melissa loitering in the lobby for over an hour. Somehow she convinced a housekeeper to let her onto my floor. Knock. Knock. "Tom, you have to open the door. We need to talk." I called the desk. "There's someone harassing me outside my room," I told them. Security handled it, but not before Melissa created a spectacle. According to the guard who came up to apologize, she marched into the lobby babbling about how I was an abusive psychopath out to ruin her life. Classic gaslight. Public performance. I tried to stay calm. The guard escorted her out. I went back inside and my hands were shaking so hard I spilled coffee on the bedspread. Then a text from an unknown number, Melissa's dad, Richard. He's usually the quiet one who lets Diane run the show, so I braced for drama. Instead, his message was almost reasonable. "Tom," he wrote, "I heard what happened. I'm sorry. That wasn't okay. Please reconsider the charges, this could affect her nursing license application. She's worked so hard. There must be another way." For a second I felt the old, almost reflexive tug toward a compromise. Maybe this is how families heal things, an apology, money, moving on. Then he added, "I'll pay for the laptop. Full replacement cost plus damages." And I sat there, thumb hovering, thinking, wait, Melissa told me her parents were strapped for cash. That was why she said she couldn't help with rent. Now suddenly Richard can write a check? Something didn't add up. I replied, "Richard, I appreciate the offer, but this isn't about money. This is about accountability. She destroyed my property intentionally." That's when the family went nuclear. Diane grabbed the phone from Richard and went full mob mom. Her response was a venomous string of threats. "Listen here, you little, I know people. I will make your life hell if you don't drop these charges," she hissed, the kind of line you only hear in movies about people with too many connections and no moral compass. I screenshotted the message and immediately sent it to my lawyer friend. His reply? "LOL, that's witness intimidation. Want me to add it to the file?" "Yes. Add it. Save it. Don't let that stand unrecorded." At the same time, Melissa launched a social media campaign. A crying selfie, makeup streaked down her face, a long caption about being a fragile, misunderstood girlfriend whose narcissistic ex was out to ruin her future over an accident. Accident, the word she chose to describe intentionally smashing my laptop multiple times. The post gathered a swarm of comments. Some friends rallied for her, others smelled something off. Then, the break I didn't know I needed, a stranger's comment popped up. "Girl, didn't you say last week you were planning to break his stuff to get his attention?" I let out a laugh that was more relief than humor. I took a screenshot. "Thank you, random person with a conscience." By late afternoon my phone was a chorus of chaos, voicemails, texts, missed calls. Melissa alternated between pleading and rage. Diane escalated from guilt to threats. Richard tried to apologize and make things whole with money. Jade was calling people, spinning stories. My lawyer friend told me to keep everything, every screenshot, call log, hotel footage, receipts. Document everything, he told me. They'll try to rewrite the events. Don't let them. So I did. I saved the screen caps. I forwarded the threats to the detective. I printed the security guard statement. I compiled the social media posts. Every new message just fed the file. And then, right when I thought the day couldn't get any stranger, my phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. I opened it, and my stomach dropped. The last few days have been peak chaos, like watching someone shovel dirt into their own grave in fast motion. Remember Richard offering to pay for the laptop? Yeah, that little olive branch detonated the whole family. The moment Melissa learned her dad had money saved up, she blew a fuse so big it could have powered the hotel. She called me, screaming so loud I could hear the blood in my ears. "You turned my dad against me," she spat. "He told me I have to use my savings to pay him back if he covers your stupid laptop." Hold on. Your savings? Isn't that the same woman who told me she couldn't afford more rent because she was broke? I sat there, phone clenched in my hand, while she tried to explain, that's different money. Different money. How different are we talking, Melissa? A whole other country's GDP different? She hung up mid-excuse. Classic. So while I was covering roughly 70% of our living costs, while I was juggling investor calls and deadlines, she apparently had a stash she never mentioned. Cool. Great. Everything's very transparent in this relationship. My sarcasm meter was officially pegged. Then the legal circus arrived. I was served. She's suing me. For emotional distress and financial abuse. The paperwork reads like a fever dream, claims that I controlled her financially, that pressing criminal charges is vindictive prosecution, and that I caused her severe psychological harm. There's also a demand letter attached that reads like a ransom note: $10,000 for emotional damages, $5,000 for alleged lost wages, reimbursement for moving costs, a public written apology I'm supposed to post on my channels, and, naturally, a demand that I drop the criminal complaint. I forwarded everything to Marcus, my lawyer friend, not his real name, because privacy, and he literally laughed. "She's representing herself, right?" he asked. I said yes. He snorted. No licensed attorney would file this trash. This is going to be a circus. But it didn't stop at ridiculous legal claims. Diane, bless her subtlety, went nuclear and found my workplace number. She started calling nonstop, demanding to speak to my CEO about my abuse of her daughter. Our receptionist was being heroic. She patched Diane through to HR once, twice, and then stopped answering. Later, HR reached out to me. "Tom, we have a woman calling, making accusations," their email said. I forwarded the police report number, screenshots of Diane's threats, the security footage notes. HR's reply was basically, "Yikes. We'll block her number and document everything. We've got your back." A relief, honestly, small, practical, corporate comfort in a dumpster fire of a personal life. My CEO actually took me aside with that mix of concern and barely concealed amusement employees live for. "Is this the same girlfriend who walked into your investor call in lingerie?" he asked, eyebrow raised. "Yep." He sighed. "You need better taste in women, Tom." I shrugged. "Working on it," I said, which somehow felt like the most adult plan anyone could offer me right then. The family's antics were one thing, but the receipts kept piling up in my favor. Remember that random commenter who called out Melissa for plotting to break my stuff? She slid into my DMs, "Hey Tom, not close but you should know, Melissa's been bragging in our group chat that she put you in your place and that breaking your little toy was just the start. She said you'd come crawling back. I have screenshots if you want them for court." That message hit like a cold splash of water. I asked her to send everything. She did. Thread after thread of Melissa boasting, laughing, plotting. "He thinks he's so smart, but I know how to make him pay attention," one message read. Another, "Breaking his laptop will show him who's boss." Those screenshots were gold, explosive, direct, and perfectly timed. I saved them all, forwarded them to Marcus, printed copies, and zipped everything into a folder labeled, "Do not let them rewrite history." The contrast between the performative victim narrative she was trying to sell and the private messages I now held was stark enough to make my stomach turn. And yet, even with that evidence stacking up, something unsettled me, an itch I couldn't scratch. The whole affair felt like a spider's web: threats, performance, legal bluster, and the sudden availability of family money. Why the dramatic show? Why threaten my career one minute and offer a check the next? Why weaponize everything when an apology and some boundaries could have fixed most of this? I was still staring at one last DM when my phone vibrated again, a new message, from an unknown number. My thumb hovered over the screen. I opened it. The text was short, and my heart sank as I read the first line: "Court day finally rolled around, and if I didn't know better, I would have thought Melissa hired a costume designer." She walked in looking like a soft-spoken schoolteacher from a Hallmark movie, pastel pink dress, barely there makeup, hair tucked into a neat little bun like she'd never heard of Instagram filters or contouring. It was a full performance. The innocent victim aesthetic. Her parents sat behind her. Diane stared at me like she wanted to set me on fire with her eyes alone. Richard looked exhausted, worn out the way people look after years of apologizing for someone else. The prosecutor had spent weeks putting together everything: photos of the smashed laptop, the security footage from the hotel, Diane's threats, the screenshots where Melissa bragged about her plan to wreck my things to get my attention. The man came armed. Before going into full trial, he pulled her aside and gave her an option, honestly a pretty gentle one considering what she did. Plead guilty to misdemeanor criminal mischief. Pay restitution. 100 hours of community service. 1 year probation. No jail time. Barely a mark on her future nursing license. A golden parachute. A massive downgrade from the felony she was originally facing. Melissa crossed her arms like a defiant teenager. "I'm not pleading guilty to anything. He's the real criminal." Even the judge, a stone-faced woman in her 60s with absolutely zero patience for nonsense, gave her a look like she couldn't believe she was hearing this. "Miss Morrison," the judge said, voice stern, "you're accusing Mr. Bennett of emotional and financial abuse. Do you have evidence of this?" Melissa puffed up. "He worked all the time. He ignored me." The judge blinked once. "Working is not abuse. Did he physically harm you?" "No," she whispered. "Did he threaten you? Prevent you from leaving the relationship?" "No." "Then did you destroy his property worth over $3,200? It was a cry for help." The entire courtroom went silent. Even the clerk stopped typing. The judge leaned forward slightly. "You are being offered a very generous plea deal. I strongly suggest you take it." Melissa shook her head. "I'm not letting him win." The judge exhaled, one of those long, heavy-sized judges save for special types of stupidity. "Very well. We will proceed to trial. Given the evidence, including your messages admitting you plan to destroy his belongings, and your public posts calling it an accident, I need you to understand you are risking a felony conviction. Jail time. A permanent record. And yes, serious consequences for your nursing license." Melissa turned pale. Whispered frantically with her parents. Diane stood up like she was about to deliver a monologue on stage. "Your Honor, I would like to speak on my daughter's behalf." The judge cut her off. "Are you her attorney?" "No, but I'm her mother." "Then you may not." Even I had to bite my tongue to stop from smiling. The judge asked, Miss Morrison, do you have legal representation? Melissa swallowed. I'm representing myself. The judge pinched the bridge of her nose. I strongly recommend you hire counsel. Trial date is set for next month. Case dismissed for the day. Outside the building, Richard approached me alone. Still polite. Still trying to fix the world for a daughter who throws grenades and cries when the shrapnel comes back. Tom, please. I'll give you $10,000. Just drop everything. Don't do this to her. I shook my head. Richard, she needs consequences. Covering for her is probably why she thinks she can act like this. His shoulders slumped. Diane will never forgive me if Melissa ends up with a record. I shrugged. That sounds like a you problem. He didn't argue. He just turned away like a man who had finally run out of excuses for his own kid. I thought maybe, reality had finally reached Melissa. But I should have known better. That night she hopped onto Instagram Live, broadcasting tears like she was up for an Oscar. Big, dramatic sobbing. Shaky voice. The justice system protects abusive men, he's ruining my life, he's destroying my future over nothing. The comments section exploded. Someone typed, didn't you break his laptop on purpose though? Melissa sniffled, it wasn't on purpose, I was having a mental health episode. Another comment flashed, girl, you literally told me last month you were gonna break his stuff if he didn't pay attention to you. Her eyes flickered, her mouth snapped shut, and she killed the live stream faster than I've ever seen her end anything voluntarily. But not before half the internet screen recorded it, including me. I emailed the entire clip to the prosecutor with a simple note. She is now claiming mental health crises. You may want to request a psychological evaluation. His reply came 5 minutes later. Already in motion. This is the most self-destructive defendant I've seen in years. I thought that was the end of the night. It wasn't. Because 10 minutes later, my phone lit up with a notification, and when I opened it, I realized this story wasn't finished hurting her. It had just entered the final act. The trial was something out of a reality show. Melissa walked in with an actual lawyer this time, and not a good one. Think billboard on the highway vibes. He had that greasy, overly confident energy of someone who defends drunk drivers and slips on grocery store floors. My guess? He didn't take the case because he believed her. He took it because he smelled attention. He tried to spin a tragic love story, me as the cold, heartless tech guy who worked too much and pushed his fragile girlfriend to a breaking point. He painted her as a woman emotionally abandoned to the point of crisis. I half expected dramatic piano music to start playing. But then the prosecutor stood up. And it was carnage. He laid everything out like he'd been waiting all month for this moment. Exhibit A. My laptop, inside a clear evidence bag, smashed, bent, glass shattered, looking like a crime scene involving a robot murder. Exhibit B. The photos from the night it happened, every angle, every shard. Exhibit C. Screenshots of her social media posts where she first called it an accident, and then bragged about it being intentional. Exhibit D. Group chat logs from her former friend, showing she plotted this days in advance. Exhibit E. The entire Instagram live meltdown, where she contradicted half of her own statements while crying into her front-facing camera. Exhibit F. The text messages where Diane threatened my career, which the prosecutor calmly referred to as possible witness intimidation. By the time he finished, Melissa's lawyer looked like he regretted waking up that morning. But then came the surprise witness, Amanda, the friend who sent me the screenshots. Not only did she show up, she took the stand. She testified, clear as day, under oath. 3 days before it happened, Melissa said, I'm going to break something he loves so he knows how I feel. Maybe his precious laptop. You could practically hear Melissa's soul leaving her body. Her lawyer tried to object, but the messages were already in evidence. No escape hatch. Then, for reasons I still don't understand, Melissa insisted on taking the stand herself. Her attorney looked like a man silently screaming. The prosecutor began gently, like he was giving her a chance to stop the bleeding. Miss Morrison, did you destroy the defendant's laptop? Her answer. He made me do it. The prosecutor raised an eyebrow. He physically forced you to break his laptop? No, but emotionally. So did he tell you to break his laptop? No. Did you plan to break his belongings to get his attention? They took that out of context. He held up a printed screenshot. This is your message. What context are we missing? She floundered. I wasn't serious. But you did break his laptop. Yes. And you did so intentionally. She snapped, okay. Yes. I broke it. But he deserved it for ignoring me. You could feel the entire courtroom freeze. Even her lawyer dropped his face into his hands like he was trying to smother himself. At that point, the judge didn't need a recess, a break, or a breath of air. She found Melissa guilty of second-degree criminal mischief. The sentence hit harder than Melissa ever expected. $3,200 restitution for the laptop. $1,500 in damages for lost work. 200 hours community service. 18 months probation. Mandatory anger management classes. And, the killer blow, the judge categorized it as a crime of moral turpitude. Which meant her nursing license application was done. Finished. Buried. Melissa broke into uncontrollable sobbing. You ruined my life. I'll never be a nurse now. The judge didn't raise her voice. Didn't even blink. Miss Morrison, she said calmly, you ruined your own life the moment you chose to destroy someone else's property because you were angry. Actions have consequences. And that was it. Sentence delivered. Diane immediately launched herself into a screaming fit about sexism and corruption, shrieking until security escorted her out. Richard just sat there staring at the floor, like a man who finally realized he couldn't fix this one. As I walked out into the hallway, Melissa's lawyer jogged to catch up with me. For what it's worth, he said, I tried to convince her to take the plea deal. She insisted you drop the charges. She genuinely believed you loved her too much to let her get hurt. I blinked. Why would she think that? He shrugged. Because apparently the last guy she dated threatened charges when she keyed his car. She cried. He caved. My stomach twisted. So she thought I'd be just another doormat. He sighed. Pretty much. Good luck, man. And as he walked away, I finally realized. I wasn't Melissa's first victim. Just the first one who pushed back. And I had no idea her life was about to get worse. It's been a month since the trial wrapped up, and I figured I'd post one last update before I officially close this chapter of my life and shove the door shut behind it. Melissa has started paying restitution, slowly. She's only managed the first $1,000. Remember that mysterious, different money she was hiding? Turned out to be about $2,500 total. Not quite the secret bank vault she implied every time she claimed poverty. Richard, the only reasonable member of that family, is paying off the remainder in monthly installments. He actually mailed me a handwritten apology. In it, he admitted something heartbreaking and honest: always rescuing Melissa from consequences is what created the person she became. Reading it was bittersweet. On one hand, yeah, he gets it now. On the other hand, damage already done. Some life lessons come too late. Diane, however, is getting her own serving of karma. Apparently, threatening to destroy someone's career if they don't drop legal charges is, shockingly, a crime. The police didn't just shrug it off. She's now facing her own charges for witness intimidation. Jail time on the table. I'd be lying if I said that didn't feel poetic. And Melissa? Well, she tried to turn herself into a martyr. She made a GoFundMe titled, "Help Me Rebuild After Domestic Abuse." Yes, domestic abuse. About me. The fundraiser lasted roughly 48 hours before dozens of people reported it, linking the actual public court records showing she was the one convicted of criminal mischief. Donations, $73. Then poof, removed. A lot of people asked whether her nursing dreams really died. Unfortunately for her, yes. Crimes of moral turpitude show up on background checks. She didn't just shoot herself in the foot, she fired a cannon at her career. According to Amanda, the friend who helped bring the truth to light, Melissa is now working retail, living back with her parents, and blaming literally everyone but herself. It's my fault for overreacting. The judge was sexist. Her lawyer was incompetent. Amanda is a traitor. Not once has she said the word responsible or accountable. That ship is still somewhere at sea. Meanwhile, my life has quietly started stitching itself back together. I replaced the laptop, insurance actually covered a better model than the one she smashed. Our startup got its next round of funding. And the investors, unbelievably, joked about the lingerie incident. Most startups have server crashes. You had a human crash. I laughed harder than I expected. I'm also in therapy, something I didn't realize I needed until the dust settled. Being with someone who thinks destruction is communication? Turns out that messes with your head. Living in constant emotional hostage negotiation mode leaves marks you don't see until you're out of the blast radius. So for now, I'm steering clear of dating. I'm pouring energy into work, spending time with friends, relearning what it feels like to live in a quiet apartment where nothing gets broken for attention. My things stay where I put them. Nobody is storming into my office mid-meeting. No one is threatening to destroy my career because I wouldn't watch a movie at the exact second they demanded. It's honestly peaceful. A little boring, maybe. But a good kind of boring. Last week, I got a message from Jade, the friend who helped Melissa find my hotel the night she tried to break into my room. She asked if I wanted to grab coffee and talk about everything, maybe clear the air. I didn't even respond. Just blocked. That air doesn't need clearing, it needs forgetting. A lot of people have asked if I regret pressing charges. If I should have just taken Richard's money and walked away. Here's the truth. It was never about the laptop. Never about the money. Never about revenge. It was about a person who genuinely believed she was entitled to destroy something valuable, my property, my work, my livelihood, just because she wasn't getting enough attention. It was about someone who weaponized tantrums and expected a free pass. It was about the belief that consequences were for other people. So no, I don't regret it. She wanted my attention. Well, she got it. A judge. A jury. A courtroom full of people watching her defend the idea that smashing my laptop was justified. I hope it was worth it. Thanks to everyone who followed this story. But this is the final chapter. I'm out. Time to enjoy my peaceful, predictable, drama-free life. The kind where the only thing breaking in my house is the silence.